with the roll call.
Okay, Director Combs,
Here.
Director Burt,
Here.
Director Pine,
Here.
Director Abrika will be present, and I do not see Director Kremen.
I just
attendance.
received a text message from him saying, running late in a wedding.
Okay, and it looks like Director Abrika is joining us now.
Yes, good afternoon. I was running a little late, but did the meeting start already?
We just started.
Okay.
Yeah,
We just took
did.
roll call. Perfect timing.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Director Combs.
Yeah, thank you, Drew. Great job. Yes, so we'll then continue with the, yeah, where are we on the agenda, I guess, if you can tell me.
We just
Number
had
2.
roll call. We are ready for approval of agenda.
Okay, so yes, if I can have a motion to approve the agenda, or if there are any requests for any changes or anything.
So moved as written.
I'll second.
Okay, it moved and seconded, and we'll take a vote.
Director Abrika,
Yes.
Director Combs,
Yes.
Director Burt,
Yes.
Director Pine.
Yes,
Motion passes.
Okay, our next item 3 is the approval of the minutes from the November 18th meeting. And also just asking if there are any questions on them, and if not, then we can also move to approve them.
I move
I'll
approval
move to-
of minutes.
Second.
Okay, been moved in second, and if we can have roll call then.
Director Abrika,
Yes.
Director Combs,
Yes.
Director Burt,
Yes.
Director Pine.
Yes,
Okay, so our motion carried. Item number 4 is public comment. So this is an opportunity for members of the public to address the JPA board on any issue that is not on the agenda. Just understanding we cannot engage in any lengthy discussions on it. And do we have any requests at this point from any members of the public?
I do not have any requests, and I do not see any hands raised at this moment.
Okay. All right, well then, we'll continue now with the consent agenda. We have one item. Since it's only one item, I guess I'll ask if there's any questions. And this is more of a routine, I think, resolution. We're still continuing with this.
That's right. And this allows us to also continue this. We need to reauthorize this every 30 days. So
Yep.
this is just going to be a routine part of our agenda until the pandemic passes or the board decides that they feel confident that public safety measures allow us to have hybrid meetings.
Okay. Yes. So I'll entertain a motion unless there's any questions or any requests from the public on this to speak on it, or, okay.
I've not received any requests and no hands
Okay.
are raised.
All right, so then I'll entertain a motion for approval.
I will move approval of the resolution authorizing public meetings to continue being via teleconferencing.
Okay. I'll second. And we'll have a vote.
Okay. Director Abrika,
Yes.
Director Combs,
Yes.
Director Burt,
Yes.
Director Pine,
yes,
and Director Kremen has joined us, but he's still connecting.
Okay, all right. Okay, well, let's move on to item 6 and the section on information items, and we'll have the Executive Director, Margaret.
All right,
Into it.
thank you, Director Abrika. So just a quick run through on updates on our various projects. We are making actually great progress on the O&M manual. Finally is complete for the downstream reach. That was accepted by the regional board just very recently. We are making slow progress obtaining the park bench and memorial plaque to be installed. I understand from Kevin that there are some supply chain issues. And so the materials are somewhat delayed. But we are making progress, and this will, as soon as materials are available, be installed. More immediately, as part of our restoration efforts, we'll be planting 420 gum plants inside the Reach 1 restoration area. And with our recent rains, Kevin tells me that there is a high likelihood of their thriving. And so we're looking forward to continued success in our restoration efforts in Reach 1. In Reach 2, we have a little bit of exciting news. The Pope Chaucer Bridge Hazard Mitigation Grant Program grant, the original award for $3 million. Last Friday, we got an email late in the afternoon noticing us that we had been awarded. So that's very good news. We are going to need to work with with FEMA and others to coordinate the period of performance to make sure that the schedule of activities coincides with the way we are anticipating our construction activities will work. And we are continuing to and have submitted our request for an expanded budget for this grant. The fact that the initial request has been awarded is very good news. The LEDPA annotated outline, this is part of our permit process, has been submitted to the Regional Water Quality Control Board per their request for getting their input and feedback on that annotated outline. We're awaiting their full feedback, and once we receive that, we will take that information, and we will also include some evolving project design information into that. So the schedule for it may have been set back a little bit with both their comments that we want to consider carefully, as well as the top of bank structures that may need to be included in the LEDPA analysis. On October 25th, we hosted a NEPA scoping meeting as part of the Army Corps' CAP 205 NEPA process. And there were several commenters, several agencies commented, as well as a few members of the public. And the Army Corps is evaluating those comments now. Let's see, additional, while I'm here, an additional update regarding that you probably read in your packet. We were recently in communication with our good colleagues at Valley Water, who brought up what had been shared with the JPA staff about 2 years ago regarding some top of bank structures that are downstream of University Avenue on the Edgewood Drive side of the creek, so the Palo Alto side of the creek. These top of bank structures effectively act as bank stabilization and flood control. They are old, they're reaching the end of their useful life. And as we widen the creek and remove the bridge constrictions, the water that will be coming downstream may be more than these aging structures can handle. So we will be evaluating, we together with Valley Water will be evaluating what needs to be done to repair or replace those structures and how to go about that process with regard to regulatory agency permitting, and of course, working closely with our community members, our project neighbors, so that we have access to those properties and can do the full scope and evaluation of what will need to be done along those top of bank structures. That's a significant enough level of effort and an addition of scope that we will need to do a supplementary environmental impact report. That process will take about a year. It's going to add some cost and some complexity to the project. The full details of those complex changes and the addition of cost and scope are still being evaluated. I'm optimistic that we won't encounter too many hurdles. Working with the engineering team at Valley Water, I'm sure that we can overcome most hurdles. We'll get back to the board with the schedule in early 2022 about how this process is going to move along. And I see that there are a couple of folks from Valley Water in attendance. So if anyone has any technical questions, perhaps we can ask them to speak to your technical questions. But that's the brief summary of the top of bank issues. It's going to add some time. It's going to add some scope and complexity to our Reach 2 project. And we are embracing that with our project partner. I would pause there for a moment if there's any questions. All right. Hearing none, we'll move along.
No, Jerry
Reach-
Hearn has a public comment.
Okay.
Thank you for this presentation, Margaret. Just one quick question, well, actually two. The LEDPA submittal, or the outline as you call it, is going to the Regional Water Quality Control Board. Who is it that finally either approves that or puts a stamp on it? Who does it finally go to? Is that the Corps?
No, it's the Regional Water Quality Control Board. And you know what I actually see? I have like my control panel down here is blocking the last point that I wanted to make. There was an all agencies meeting on December 7th between the Regional Water Quality Control Board, Fish and Wildlife, CDFW, DWR.
Good.
I'm probably forgetting one, and Stanford University.
Good.
So the JPA and Stanford presented this. The information that is going to be presented in the LEDPA was part of what was discussed at that meeting,
Okay.
not the LEDPA specifically. To answer your question, it's the regional board that is the blesser of that. So getting their early input on our outline to make sure that we are including not just, you know, what's the checklist of information they want, but is this structured in the right way for them to review it the way they want to, is kind of an important step for us.
I agree totally. Having them on board as early as possible is really important.
Mhm.
So thank
You
you.
had a second question.
The second question is, could you just in a few words describe these structures that you're noting, the existing structures downstream of
Mhm.
University?
So there's a
I'm trying to
long
picture
stretch
that.
of, there's a long stretch of the bank there
Yeah.
that has stacked sackcrete.
Oh,
Um,
yeah, okay. Got it.
And-
Thank you.
and I think they were installed many decades ago.
Yeah, I know they've been around for several decades at least. So yeah,
Mm.
thank you. I was thinking structures is, you know, like concrete structures or something, but I see what you're,
Yeah,
they're
stacked
bank retention, I think.
sackcrete. Mhm.
Good. Thank you.
Sure. Okay, really quickly, the Woodard and Curran evaluation, the feasibility of technical memorandum is still anticipated by the end of the year or perhaps early next year. This will give us some more sense of the level of effort, feasibility, scope, cost, and technical limitations or advantages of creating an off-stream detention facility upstream of the urbanized area of the floodplain watershed. So we are anticipating that again, hopefully by the end of the year. So far, it has been a pleasure working with Stanford. I think we sorted through all of our access issues and are coordinating well. So on to the Safer Bay project. We are anticipating the release of our notice of preparation. We were anticipating it in December and then reconsidered and thought, you know, everybody's busy with the holidays. No one's going to read anything or want to attend public meetings. So we're going to do this early in 2022. So we are still planning for that. We've had several very productive conversations with our consulting team and with some community partners, given them the heads up about our plans to do that, and are excited to launch that process early in 2022. And related to Safer as well, the BRIC grant means that the City of Menlo Park will have a formal adoption of the Memorandum of Understanding between the 4 Menlo Park BRIC partners, which again are Menlo Park, the JPA, PG&E, and Meta, now was Facebook, is now Meta. And they'll be approving that tentatively in January of 2022. Once they approve that, we're going to bring that final MOU back to this board for your approval. Any questions on any of the other project updates? And if not, I'll just move quickly along. Second information item is an update of the 3-year rolling work plan. You have that in your packet, and for those of you following online, it's part of the board packet. It is included in the director's report, supplementary to the director's report. It's a multi-column table that shows where we are in our status of what we thought we would be doing and the progress that we've made. I've changed the format, hopefully, for easier reading. So things that are in progress are yellow, things that are completed are given a green, things that have either been abandoned or deferred are noted on with black, and those that have not yet begun or have had setbacks are in red. I'm happy to say that most things are a yellow or green, and hopefully that format is easier for you to read, and it's certainly easier for me to update. Did anyone have any questions on the 3-year work plan? Sorry. All right. If there aren't any comments or questions, we can roll right into the next the action item. Director Abrika, would you like me to give you a brief overview of this? Sir, you are muted.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I said yes, please. Yeah, let us know what this is about.
Okay, so the Bay Adapt platform was convened. It was a multi-stakeholder process that was convened by BCDC, and there was Bay Area-wide participation. The platform that was created over an 18-month process of engaging local leaders, local stakeholders, and agencies and institutions and community groups who are all either directly responsible for addressing sea level rise or who are impacted by sea level rise, came together and developed this platform. There are a series of actions, it's all voluntary, and there are a series of sort of policy statements, proactive policy statements. The purpose behind this platform is to ensure that those of us around the Bay who are working on climate change adaptation and sea level rise mitigation are all on roughly the same page, and that we're taking this on in a collaborative spirit, a cooperative spirit, with the understanding that we're all learning from each other, and we have an opportunity and an obligation for the benefit of our citizens to cooperate and collaborate as best as we can. So as you read in your packet, there are about, I think there's like 9 different actions, and 7 of them fit within the scope of our jurisdiction at the JPA. Again, these are all voluntary. We are doing these kinds of community outreach, stakeholder engagement, proactive design, thinking ahead about the way that our projects can interact with one another, either side of us, north and south. So we're doing this anyway, and it's a great statement of saying, yes, we're stepping up to the plate, not only to address climate change issues, but also to do so in the spirit of collaboration and cooperation. So that's kind of the nutshell.
I had a quick question, just, in terms of fiscal impact, I know that's always something. So you say there's no foreseeable, basically there is none until you would bring us something if there were to be a fiscal.
Indeed, there's no obligation. All of the fiscal impacts of the Bay Adapt platform are the things that we would need to do for the Safer Bay project anyway.
Okay, I just want to be clear that there's no Yeah, just, there's not something that needs to go in the budget or anything like that. Yeah, okay, that's all.
No.
I just,
Not something discrete or separate from what we would be doing for the project anyway.
okay. Yeah, any other questions or comments from board or from the public, if we have any? Nope. Yeah, well, it looks very good. Actually, a lot of good
Mhm.
minds put this together, so.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you.
And it's, I think, also nice that we're one of the first organizations to adopt, if you do choose to do so, adopt a resolution in support of the platform. And that will be nice to convey to the folks at BCDC and the group that worked so hard on this.
And we do have a resolution. Yes, we do have a resolution attached here. Correct, so. Okay. If there are no other questions or comments, then we would need a motion and a second to approve this, if that's the case. Anybody?
Did we have any public comment?
Yeah, and I was asking if there was any public comment too.
No.
I don't know.
I've not received any and we have no hands raised.
Yeah, so it sounds like we're ready for a motion. Unless there are any other comments or questions.
I'll make the motion.
Okay. And I'll second.
Ah, there you go.
Okay, let's have a roll call for this.
Director Abrika,
Yes.
Director Combs,
Yes.
Director Burt,
Yes.
Director Kremen,
Yes.
Director Pine.
yes,
Yes, okay, motion carried. And item number 8 is an opportunity for any board member to make any announcements or comments, requests or anything. Anyone?
Sure, this is Drew. I'll go. So I think it was this week we were all on an email thread regarding the accessibility of past JPA meetings, specifically in the meeting we did in conjunction with the Army Corps of Engineers. And so, and I don't know of the details or facts stated in the email, but what I would say is that I think we as an organization going forward should certainly commit to any meetings, the links for those meetings being posted publicly and accessible at all times, and not being dependent on any email confirmations being sent to anyone. On the City Council, our meeting links are posted in our agendas, and as are the meeting links for this meeting is posted in the agenda, and that should be standard practice for any meetings of which public meetings of which the JP is involved with. And if for some reason we're going to deviate from that, then I think that there should be clear and solid reasoning why.
Yeah, I definitely support that too. Sometimes I don't pay attention. So I know that when there were these meetings, joining it, frankly, I didn't even really notice, but I do fully support that meeting should always be accessible to everybody with no need to confirm or nothing, just jump on the meeting. So,
Through
anyways,
the
so I
chair.
think- yeah,
Go on.
ahead.
No, I agree. I think the widest possible dissemination is possible. I think for the recent scoping, my opinion, my finding for the recent scoping agreement, we were well within the law, and the letter we got has nothing to do with that. It's just some people who want to jam up flood protection for tens of thousands of people because they just don't like a couple things about it. So I'm putting their comments in the appropriate place.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
But,
so
but if
any other-
I just, and Jerry,
Yeah.
you may be, Gary, you may be 1,000% correct, which is even more reason why we should do things that have complete transparency and completely go above and beyond. And so in the case, the fact is that the meeting link there wasn't a public place where that meeting link could be accessed. And so if you have scenarios where people are not in favor of what you are trying to do, then that's even more reason why you do everything to make sure that they don't have a reason to critique or criticize you.
Yeah.
And there's no reason that this board should be involved in any public meeting where a link is not clearly accessible. There's no public meeting that this board should be involved in where it has to be based on someone getting an email confirmation. Because they made the allegation in that email that they didn't get a confirmation till 5 minutes before. Now, if that is accurate or not, I don't know. But I do know that that link wasn't posted publicly anywhere.
Yeah.
That I do know.
Yeah, so I think, so Margaret, our director, you heard that. I think, definitely from now on, that should be the standard practice. And like I said, I didn't really, until I got the email, all of a sudden I thought, yeah, it did seem like it was. And these days, so much stuff happens, webinars and this where you have to register and do all that stuff or whatever. But we are a public body and there should be no separation between us and the board and everyone. So, yeah. Okay, any other comments or announcements? Anything else? Reports? Margaret, remind me, I frankly forgot if Drew and I reported on our meeting with the water board representatives. Was that? We haven't, huh?
You have not.
Yeah, I thought maybe it was last meeting, but I do want to report, and Drew can add some things too, Margaret. Following the direction of the board, we did have a chance to have a meeting with, and frankly, I forget their names from right now, but both the chair of the water board and the director.
Jim McGrath and Mike Montgomery.
Yeah, thank you. And Drew and I and Margaret, and I have to say, I felt at the end of the meeting, it was a very productive meeting, very, very friendly, very informative, and definitely, I think, fulfill the desire of the board, which was to, just establish a solid relationship of communication and helping each other. Ultimately, we're all on the same path to try to make a project work with all the different aspects of it. And so, anyway, I just want to report that back. And Drew, you want to add anything else to our meeting?
Yeah, I don't think I have anything to add. That was the perfect summation.
Yeah, okay, all right. And Margaret, anything else you want to?
I think you covered all the bases.
Now, that doesn't mean that there won't be any glitches in the future, but I think definitely it was very good to, sit and talk and, exchange notes on that. So want to report that. Okay, if there's no other reports, I do want, under item number 9, the adjournment, I do want to adjourn the meeting and in the memory of a couple of people, definitely close to our work as a JPA. One person is Mr. James Joseph Mulvey, who was Trish Mulvey's husband. And as we know, she has been so involved in this area for so many years. And, definitely, I think that the family of people who are involved in these kinds of public service always, in some ways, are part of it because they, they have their family life and their public life interconnected there. So we want to, honor his memory. And then the other person is Nari S. Ali Falaha, who was the wife of Mr. Kamal, who happens to be our East Palo Alto Public Works Director, has also been involved for so many years with us. And likewise, we want to extend our condolences to both families on behalf of the board. Thank you very much. Okay. So with that, we'll adjourn the meeting and wish everyone a good break on the holidays, whatever holidays people celebrate, and a happy new year, I guess, too. A better year. Everybody stay safe and healthy, and we'll see you next year.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
Holidays.
Everyone.
Everybody. Thank you.